It was a Friday night in Ebugu, Nigeria, a bustling town full of life and energy. The streets were alive with neon lights, the distant beats of Afrobeat music, and the occasional laughter of late-night revelers. For young men, Umo, Inyang, Emeka, and Basi were cruising home in their sleek black car. They had just left a popular nightclub, their spirits high from an evening of dancing and fun. The dimly lit streets of Ebugu stretched ahead of them, silent and eerily empty. Inside the car, the atmosphere was lively, jokes, loud laughter, and recounts of the night's highlights filled the air. Emeka, the driver, handled the wheel confidently, while the others teased and talked, the city's nightlife still buzzing in their minds. But the light-hearted banter was soon interrupted by an encounter they would never forget. As the car rounded a sharp bend on an isolated road, the group was jolted out of their fun. A shadow darted across the headlights, too fast to make out. Emeka slammed on the brakes, tires screeching against the asphalt. "What was that?" Inyang exclaimed, clutching the seat in alarm. The car came to a halt, the silence outside now unnerving. The group hesitated, then cautiously stepped out to inspect what they had hit. Lying on the ground before them was a dog, motionless, its fur dirty and matted, its lifeless eyes wide open as though staring into the void. Basi, trying to lighten the mood, chuckled nervously. "Relax, guys. It's just a dog. Let's clean this up before someone accuses us of something." They found an old sack in the car's trunk, wrapped the dog, and placed it in the boot. Laughing uneasily, they got back in the car, making jokes about bad luck and animals crossing roads at night. "I think you guys would have another turn of party with hot dog pepper soup later today," Emeka made jest of his three friends. They all put up lighter smiles and chuckles. They continued in their journey home. But the journey home would not be as they expected. As they drove, the car's lively atmosphere faded into an unsettling quiet. The air inside seemed to turn cold. Inyang shivered in the back seat. "Did you feel that?" he asked, glancing around nervously. "Feel what?" Umo replied. Inyang hesitated. Like something's wrong." Then came the sound, soft at first, barely audible. Faint whispers seemed to seep into the car. Inyang froze. "Did anyone else hear that?" he whispered. "It's just the wind," Basi said dismissively, though his voice wavered. But the whispers grew louder, morphing into faint, chilling wails. Suddenly, the steering wheel jerked on its own, forcing Emeka to swerve violently. "What's happening?" he shouted, wrestling to regain control. The car slowed and eventually came to a stop. Silence fell once more, heavy and suffocating. We need to check the boot," Umo said, his voice barely above a whisper. One by one, they stepped out, dreading what they might find. The trunk opened with a creak. What lay inside made their blood run cold. The dog was gone. In its place was the lifeless body of an old woman with hollow eyes and deeply wrinkled skin. Their hearts pounded as they stared at the corpse. Recognition struck them like lightning. "It's her, it's Madame Koyo," Basi stammered, his voice trembling. Madame Koyo. The name sent chills through anyone who heard it. Stories about her dark practices were whispered throughout the neighborhood, tales of missing children, animals found dead under strange circumstances, and strange chants heard in the dead of night. "She must have transformed," Emeka said, barely able to speak the words. The men stood frozen, the weight of their discovery bearing down on them like a curse. Their shock was interrupted by the unmistakable glow of red and blue lights. A police patrol car pulled up beside them. Two officers stepped out, their expressions cautious and stern. "What's going on here?" one officer demanded, eyeing the men and the open trunk. Umo stepped forward, trying to appear calm. We hit a dog. It's in the boot," he said, forcing a smile. The officer frowned. "Open it." The men exchanged nervous glances but complied. Slowly, they lifted the trunk lid. There she was, Madame Coyle's lifeless body, her face twisted into a haunting expression. The officers stepped back, their shock evident. What have you done?" one officer stammered. The young men tried to explain, their words tripping over each other. But the story sounded impossible, even to them. The group was taken in for questioning, their bizarre account dismissed as a fabrication. Meanwhile, word spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. People speculated about Madame Coyle's death, her transformation, and the 4 young men who had encountered her dark presence. As investigators pieced together the story, more unsettling truths about Madame Coyle's life came to light, truths that only deepened the mystery. The young men were eventually held in police custody, pending police investigations. Do you wish to know what happened next? Please like, share and subscribe.